get a good feeling, yeah. Yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, no. Yeah. I just wanna tell you right now that I believe, I really do believe that something's got a hold on me here. Oh, it must be love. Oh, something's got a hold on me right now, child. Oh, it must be love. Let me tell you now, I've got a feeling, I feel so strange. Everything about me seems to have changed. Step by step, I got a brand new walk. I even sound sweeter when I talk. I said, oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, it must be love. You know it must be love. Let me tell you now, something's got a hold on me, yeah. Oh, it must be love. Oh, something's got a hold on me right now, child. Oh, it must be love. Let me tell you now, I've never felt like this before. Something's got a hold on me that won't let go. Believe I'd fly if I only could. I feel so strange, but it sure is good. I said, oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, it must be love. You know it must be love. Let me tell you now, my heart feels happy, my feet feel light. I shake all over, I feel alright. I never felt like this before. Something's got a hold on me that won't let go. I never thought would happen to me. Got me happy when I'm in misery. I never thought it could be this way. But love's sure gone and put a hurt on me. I said, oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah. Oh, it must be love. You know it must be love. You know it walks like love. You know it walks like love. It talks like love. You know it talks like love. Make me feel alright. It makes me feel alright. In the middle of the night. In the middle of the night. La 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 la. La 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 la.
La 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 la, make me feel all right. Sing it, Etta James. Oh, let me stop this before it goes forward. Okay. Hello, hello. Did you know that you are an artist? Yes. I used to think I'm not an artist because I can't paint, can't draw, can't sing, but realizing my creativity comes out in other areas. You are the artist. Imagine that. You create, you paint the story of your life. And in your painter's palette, where you dip your paintbrush in, are different symbols that you use to do that, or maybe words on the end of your paintbrush. And your life is the canvas. And how you choose to create your life story depends on how you put those symbols, those words together on your paintbrush, right? And it depends on how you are taught what those symbols mean. Those symbols, those words had no meaning before they were interpreted and perceived and agreed upon by people, by human beings. Language was developed as a way of communicating with ourselves, especially with ourselves, and then with each other. And it was a purpose, a good intention. But those words had no meaning until they were interpreted and perceived by human beings and agreed upon by human beings. The problem is they're heavy laden, those words, with cultural and societal norms They have become that about how you ought to be, how you ought to behave. Until the point comes where we lose our ability to be our real selves, our genuine selves, who we truly are. The humans who took care of us, they taught us what they knew. They programmed us, in other words, with their knowledge, what they had been programmed with and had been taught that they know. And in other words, they downloaded it into our head, what they knew and what had been known for eons and what had been agreed upon. And they taught us to be like them. Sometimes not so good, sometimes good. And they taught us that through reward and punishment. I mean, we agreed because when we didn't, we got punished. And when we agreed, we got rewarded. And we want to be loved. So, we agreed. And we began to be like them. No malicious intentions behind the invention of symbols. They served that purpose to invent communication. So, when did we get off track? How did we get off track? Oh boy. I'm going to talk about those today. When, how, and how do we get back on track? Okay, let's start with when did we get off track and how did we get off track? Just a little bit about that, so to give it some history and some perspective, so that then we can understand how to get back on to being who we truly are, and what does that mean even. So before we learned the meanings of those symbols, of those words, according to others, we were totally authentic. There was no pretending to be what we were not. Totally real. We trusted ourselves. Totally. We totally loved ourselves. We were free to be truly who we were. Those opinions and those stories from others were not in our heads already. Oh, can you just feel that freedom? Remember that freedom? When we're babies, we're born, we just do everything naturally. We just be, and when we're toddlers, we go naked without thinking about how ugly our body is or any of that. And then something happened. Now I'm going to quote, the rest of this talk is going to be based on this book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And since this book, another book, a sequel, not actually a sequel, but has been written by Don Miguel and his son, Don Jose Ruiz, The 5th Agreement. And in this book, it summarizes the 4 agreements and expands upon them, so it's really, really good. And then it talks about the 5th agreement. I'm assuming Tim's going to put those agreements in the comment section. And they are: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. And then the 5th agreement is: be skeptical, but learn to listen. So my talk is about impeccable listening. Impeccable. Domestication. They say, these 2 guys, father and son team, said that something happens and they call it domestication. And that's where we are taught how we are to be, how we are to act. And that's when we lose our innocence. But in losing that innocence, we start to search for what we lost. And that leads us to gain awareness. And when we recover our awareness, bit by bit, we are responsible for our own life, for creating, painting the canvas of our own life. We are responsible then for all of our own choices. And that's a good thing when we do it with awareness and conscious intention. So, okay, enough about how it happened. We get that part. No blaming of our parents. That's not being genuine, but knowing that they also were passing on what they learned, and we're trying to do the thing that they thought they were supposed to do. And we can't get past that because we need to teach our children how to be kind and civil. But let's talk about how to get back on track. How to regain that wonderful innocence. How to regain that true self. The real you is unique and beyond everything you know, because the real you is truth. The real you is pure innocence, pure essence, perfection. Yes, perfection. You heard me right. When we view it from a higher place of being, from the divine realm, and even when we view it on the human realm, the real you is divine. Yes, you heard me right. There is a divine aspect to you as a creation of God. And that human aspect to you is divine also, because that serves a purpose, and that also is a creation of God. That's a tough one some days. So we learn to listen impeccably to how we are using those symbols, those words, to describe ourselves. When you look in a mirror, do you like what you see? Some days, not so much. Do you judge what your body looks like or whatever? We use those symbols to tell ourselves self-distorted truths. I could have said distorted truths, but that would be when we were taught by others. But now they become self-distorted truths. We could even go so far as to call them lies, maybe? Lying to ourselves? Whoa, strong word. Emphasis. And we did. We learned to do that to ourselves, what our parents, mother, father, siblings, church, teachers, society, we learned to do those same things to ourselves. We learn to interpret what those words and symbols mean, to judge ourselves according to what we learned about ourselves. And that is when we become good human beings, bad human beings, guilty human beings, crazy human beings, powerful human beings, weak human beings, beautiful human beings, ugly human beings. Are those things really true? Is it really true that you're never going to be good enough? No. Is it really true that you don't deserve to be happy? No, it's not true. It's a self-imposed distortion. It's a lie. Is it really true that you're not worthy of love? No. It's not true. Oh, that voice in our head. It assures us that what we believe are the way things really are. And if you're suffering, well, let me say this. If you are suffering, it's not because anyone else makes you suffer. It's because you obey that tyrant ruling in your head. Oh, but when that tyrant obeys you, serves you, when there's no longer a judge in your mind, no longer a victim in your mind, then you no longer suffer. Sounds pretty simple, huh? Listen to what that tyrant is telling you. Your tyrant is ruthless, abusing you by using symbols against you. And it thrives on emotional poison generated by negative emotions and judging yourself and opinions about yourself. Nobody judges you more than you do. You try to escape from the judgment and the guilt and the rejection and the punishment. But how do you escape your own thoughts? I mean, if you don't like someone, you walk away, right? But when it comes to yourself, wherever you go, there you still are. Can't walk away from that. How do you get away from your own thoughts? Whoa, boy. And that's why so many people turn to addictions to substances, drugs, alcohol, food, behaviors. And I haven't even begun to name them all. You know that. And that is why we try to avoid our own story, our own creation that's distorting symbols in our heads. Some suffer so much from this emotional pain that they take their lives. That's what lies can do to any of us. That voice of human knowledge can be so distorted. It can create so much self-hate that it kills the human. And all because we believed the opinions of others that were years in the making. Years and years passed on, generation to generation. Yeah, we did that. We took it on. We agreed. Out of no fault of our own, or no fault of anyone else's. Imagine that your own opinions and everybody else's opinions are all like a huge hurricane inside your own head. Yikes! Oh, yikes. Every judgment, every opinion, every point of view, those were not there when you were born. Everything you think about yourself and everything you believe about yourself, you learned from others. Images about how your body should look. Oh, like Barbie. Or what was that lady back in the 60s, the skinny woman? I can't even remember her name right now. Opinions about the way you are from others, or the way you are not, or the way you should be. And you agreed. We want to be loved. We don't want to be punished. If you can see yourself as an artist, I'm assuming and realizing it's just an assumption that you want to become a better artist at creating and painting the canvas of your life story. Then if you can see yourself as that artist, and you see that your life is your own creation, then why not create the most beautiful story for yourself? Duh! Why not? How? By letting go of so much faith that you have in those symbols and those words and what they mean. Let go of the faith you have in those symbols. Listen to yourself. What have you been taught? What are you telling yourself? And you tell yourself now, let that all go. Let that all go. Instead, start to practice over and over and over. Do your very best. Don't expect it to happen overnight. Don't expect perfection right away. Have more faith in who you truly are than you do in those symbols. In who you truly are. Listening helps. It helps us become aware so that we can paint our lives, our life story, with conscious awareness, conscious intent to make it a beautiful story, to make it our own personal heaven rather than our own private hell. Which would you prefer to make your story? Right? Hey, you can paint whatever you want. You can even copy from other artists. But just know that whatever you express with your paintbrush is the way you see yourself. What you believe about yourself is not real. It's not even important unless you want to create a better story for yourself. Well, yeah, I want to do that. You? But either way, the story that you're creating is a work of art. Either way. Yes. It is a wonderful story. A beautiful story, either way. But just a story. As close to the truth as you can get by using symbols. As an artist, there's no right or wrong way to create your art. Just beauty, or not, in the eyes of the beholder, right? Or just happiness, or not. Wow. The way you create your story is not important unless you want more happiness. Of course we want more happiness, don't we? What you paint is your life. And how it looks depends on how you use the word. The word is a powerful tool for creation. And when you learn to use that tool consciously, with awareness, with conscious intention, you can make history with the word. What history, you might ask? Your history, of course. The story of you. Impeccability. That's where the word creates a beautiful story. Your personal heaven on earth. The other direction is misuse of the word, where the word destroys everything around you and creates your personal hell. Believing in lies is how you create your own hell. I tell you, unlearn those lies. Relearn how to follow the truth, to follow your own heart. Unlearning, or undomestication, can be a slow but powerful process. And every time you take your faith away from a symbol, that power comes back to you. And it keeps coming back to you until the entire symbology has no power over you. Doesn't mean you get rid of it. You use it to your advantage. That entire symbology has no power over you any longer. Once you recover all the power that you invested in the symbols before, you don't believe in every thought that comes into your head. You don't believe your own story, but you listen to your story because you respect your own story. You can enjoy it. For centuries, there have been people who claim to know the will of God, and they go around the world preaching goodness and rightness and condemning everybody. Prophets waiting for the end of the world. And at that time, a great master said, there will be many false prophets who claim to be speaking the word of God. Don't believe. This is from Matthew chapter 24, verse 11. There will be many false prophets who claim to be speaking the word of God. Don't believe. So you see, the fifth agreement is not really new. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. Oh, the word as a symbol is your magic, your power of creation. And that begins with the word. From John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. God created the Word, and the Word is a messenger. And if God created the Word to deliver a message, and if the Word is a messenger, that is what you are. A messenger. You are an angel. Yes. Enough about you, though. What about everyone else? Everyone else is an artist, too, creating their own life story. They are messengers, too. They are angels, too. All artists have the right to create their art in whatever way they want, believe whatever they want, say whatever they have to say. And we respect their right to create, to paint their own story, to put together those symbols in a way that they've been taught. And we are aware that all artists live in their own dream, as do we. All artists live in their own world. We all do. They all do. And in that world, whatever they perceive is truth for them. And the only truth for you is what you perceive in the world, in your dream. They, like you, lost sight of themselves, like us. And you don't have to believe their story. You don't even have to form an opinion about what they say. That's the tough part. You don't have to express your own opinion. You don't have to agree or disagree. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about respect, which is so important. You respect your own right, and you respect whatever somebody says because it's another artist speaking. Show respect for their art, their creation. And you might say to them something like, "It's your dream, and I respect your dream. I respect you when I tell you, when I don't try to tell you how to live your life, how to dress, what to say, how to do whatever it is that you do in your kingdom. It's your kingdom, and I have my own. I want mine to be heaven." So again, how do we get back on track then? The key, are you ready for the key? Is to listen impeccably to your symbols, to their symbols, to what you're saying to yourself, to what they're saying to themselves, and to what they're saying to you. Then you cut through the noise of what you want and what they want. Okay, let's go a step further. Cut through the noise to what you really need and what they really need. Love. Connection. Belonging. To matter. Financial security. To be heard. To be understood. To be seen for who we are. To have clarity and inner peace and ease. To feel physically and emotionally safe in a challenging, chaotic, sometimes crazy world. To be emotionally safe while being our genuine selves without judgment. To be emotionally safe while we say our story without judgment. For others to know, for others to understand that those other people lost their innocence too, just as we lost our innocence in the distorted meanings of the words. They lost themselves too, just like we lost ourselves. We got lost in those distorted meanings of the words, and they did too. We all did. So I say now, accept yourself for who you truly are without judgment. Accept everyone else for who they truly are without judgment. A judgment that's merely based on symbols that were imposed upon them and on us by society, by religion, by our culture, by those people who cared about us or who raised us, who were around us. And that, my friends, is the only way that you will be truly happy.
paths, we put 'em right in our path when we just wanna be free.